Hi folks, welcome back to the China versus Europe Championship. So, we have 3 or 4 games left, depending on the results. And today we'll be watching the semi-finals of the winners bracket, the Austrian pairing. This is the game between Reinhard Schefcik and Robert Charvat. Hopefully I'm pronouncing those two correctly. And the winner makes it through to the finals, while the loser drops down to the losers bracket to play Bing from China. And then the winner of that one will of course join the winner of tonight's game in the final. So the game about to start. We are 2 minutes early. Let's see. Yeah, so what can we expect today? Reinhard, we know, will play Targaryen. So he's switching between a few decks. The Khal Drogo Prince deck, that's the Targ box version of Khal Drogo, plays the Dothraki package with overwhelming numbers and some claim raise and stuff like that. Really efficient, strong deck. That's won a few games, and then we saw him playing, I think, was it a Kohor deck with lots of attachments as well one time. And he plays all kinds of Targ decks, so I think he can play Burn as well. I think that's in his... Okay, no need to guess, so we have the Targ Prince that was promised. And names Khal Drogo, yeah. And the opponent, so Robert, is playing Tyrell, Aloof and the Part, which is almost certainly going to be a deck that goes for the Renown Rush with all kinds of big Tyrell characters. So the 6 and 7 costers that have Renown in Tyrell would be first of all Randall Tarly and Renly Baratheon. Those two are the most efficient. Randall has a built-in stand as well. And then you have to work a little for the others. There's Marjorie. And Mace can gain power, doesn't have printed Renown. And here we are, no economy for Reinhard, but he does set up 3 Dothraki characters. And we have Randall Tarly on setup for Robert with the reducer and the Great Hall, so pretty much optimal setup. Just missing a duplicate to make it absolutely perfect. Now the Targaryen deck can do a high claim military, of course, so it can do a bit of aggro if the game calls for that, but you can raise the claim on the power challenge as well, and obviously the agenda works with power challenges, so he should have the tools to do that. And those raiding Kalasars raising the claim to 3 or even 4 during power challenges can do a big swing, of course. And it's Robert who goes for the high economy here with 9. Plays the Arbor and dupe for both locations. Left on the board, is there right as well? No, but duplicate at least for someone. So Marjorie is the one you really need saving here. If Morghulis is played, she can replace Randall Tarly for something else. But no such luck. And Reinhard goes for more cards and just cheats Koto into place. He discards a couple of the Dothraki characters, and we know that the overwhelming numbers does work with the discard pile. And Plaza, another thing that helps with that, brings cards into the discard pile, so it's a cost that's not really a cost often in Targaryen. And pretty decent start here. And leaves himself the 3 gold, which this particular deck can use. And the card in shadows, that's well, it could be Aegon, of course. He can fetch armies, so that's a synergy that works. Although, if a deck does play Vanquish the Unbelievers, which I suspect Reinhard's deck does, then you can't have Aegon in play in the marshalling phase. And Robert passes the challenges here, so doesn't want to give any cards or get any power on his faction card, it seems. And he's just going to defend. And here comes the overwhelming numbers. So this is one that's worth reading because we'll probably see it played again. Cancel for that, so that's very handy. So if you attack with 2 Dothraki characters, you can then put up to 2 more of those Dothraki characters into play from your hand or discard pile. They are participating as attackers, and you have them for that challenge, and at the end of the challenge they return to your hand. So even if they were in the discard pile, they go back to your hand. And not sure what the target was for those cards, but Raiding Khalasar can raise the claim value. So instead, the last remaining gold spent for a pinch of powder, which returns Marjorie, but yeah, apart from price, so it hits Great Hall. That's the best possible card since it's already in play and duplicated, so very useless in Robert's hand. So lets Marjorie temporarily escape from the board, which is not necessarily bad since she was unprotected. And now this is one where you don't want any claim raise, so something needs to go. And we'll see what the strategy is here. So do you lose the dupe or do you go for the reducer? So okay, probably doesn't fear the threat of Morghulis against Reinhard, and a march to the wall, possibly a bigger concern here. Not sure how well Robert knows Reinhard's deck here, possibly knows it pretty well, better than me, but he might not know all the details, and it's possible, of course, that Reinhard has changed it to suit the particular matchup. So I was going to say Marjorie return to hand, but with the Arbor and Great Hall, playing anything from hand basically for the rest of the game will be pretty easy, and he goes for draw here because yeah, the economy is set up and he just needs the cards, while Reinhard goes for the 2 claimer and has the ability that jumps a character in. So we'll see if he can do some damage. This is where the 2 claim or 3 claim power is not going to matter because there isn't enough power to steal. So the plan is either to go for the intrigue or the military challenge. We'll see if Robert puts enough protection on the board to survive anything like that. And Khal Drogo is the box version, so there won't be 2 military challenges with increased claim. Yeah, card in Shadows. We know Pinch was in hand. We don't know any of the other cards. I don't think any of the track is returned, so but it could be Aegon in theory. But since there is only 1 gold left, it would be more usual to just do Pinch, since you can do it, you can trigger it this round. And if Intrigue is won first by 5 and Pinch removes a character, then yeah, 2 or 3 claim military would be really damaging. Here comes Marjorie. And 4 gold left. Hopefully something that can be done with that, and Khal Drogo put into play with the plot, so he can intercept an army or the Dothraki guard when it's returned to hand. That would happen, for instance, with overwhelming numbers. And some other effects, even Aegon, I think it would intercept Aegon's delayed effect. And here comes that trick challenge. So you can defend this so you don't lose by 5 I mean. But then power is also a problem for that pinch. Could there be any ambush, perhaps? There could. Hightower spy. No, she's blind, but she does reveal Hightower, which is pretty nice, so that's a lot of strength now, and I think with 2 claim, is it worth just defending properly so that you don't lose the 2 cards? Or do you just worry about losing by 5? So the crown, if you have the Trakis and you do, you can use that to put characters in the dead pile, so that's really annoying for Robert here, and he would do well to prevent that. And here is Varys, so let's see, is it worth kneeling the Dothraki just to get rid of him? And it is. And the other card is growing strong, which is slightly weird because using that would have won the challenge on defense. So maybe he was saving that for Randall Tarly, or maybe there is something else that can be done. Yeah, Var is probably the only copy. You do keep one in the deck for Marjorie if you play her, usually because she can find him in the challenges phase sometimes if you're really under pressure, and yeah, you can maybe put him into play and do a reset followed by one of the reset plots. Well, we see what the other 3 cards are, and if any of them can be used with that 1 gold. So if pinch doesn't go through, and if some super high claim military doesn't go through, then probably Robert can still strike back with his renowned characters. So we have Ago discarded to stand Jogo. So that's going to win the military, most likely. And then stealth with 10 strength against Marjorie, which should win by 5. And that's bad news because that puts that pinch into play as well. Well, is there anything that can be done here? Leaves it unopposed. And it's only 2 claim. So the 2 reducers can go. And let's see. So goes for Randall Tarley instead, which allows the Marjorie trigger and brings in Renly. Now that could... could that defend? It's still going to be stealth for Renly here, with 2 characters defending and then with the 2 characters attacking, and still that pinch can be triggered. Unless I'm missing something. So 12 strength attack, starting past Renly. And let's see if pinch comes out. On the plus side, Renly is strong enough to beat Khal Drogo on the counter. And he has to be pinched here, which leaves Marjorie for the counter. And she is not going to beat Khal Drogo on power, so she would need to do the intrigue to achieve anything here. So strong round for Reinhard, not just the board control but also running away with the power here, already up to 8 in round 2. And even the intrigue claim is not very impactful. And Khal Drogo keeps himself in play. Yeah, Duharis gets rid of these decently, but Aloof and the Pardax are not going to be playing that. They might play Wildfire Assault, I guess, which is a good plot as well in this situation. Or they might be playing without resets, just because they have confidence in their board state usually. That would be bad news probably here for Robert. Here comes the Vanquish. And against the Palace of Sorrows. Okay, now that is an interesting one, so you only need basically quantity over quality with that plot. So if you have more cards and you can put more characters on the board, you can get out of it pretty well, but there is stealth on Drogo, so any win by, in this case it would be by 6, I guess, if you have an extra 2 characters and then you can do the pinch. It would be a good situation, but Reinhard this time lets Robert go first. There's no 2 power to steal just yet with the 2 claim plot and possible claim raise. And Robert can't really attack and leave himself open to the counter, because it could be game over this round. If Khal Drogo, for instance, can do 2 challenges with his renown. Now let's have a House Florent Knight here. Get rid of Khal Drogo. No. Great Hall. It's not going to reduce the House Florent Knight. Renly and Lysa Erin. Okay. Unless she is dealt with, that's some kind of threat now. With military claim. Although, if you kill her... Yeah, you can kill her and still trigger Marjorie, so that works pretty well. So now Reinhard needs to work with that pinch again. And I wonder if this time he does have Aegon. That's one way to win quickly. Or is it pinch again? So Robert is not going to attack, because I think that wins the game for Reinhard if you nail out any characters. And again that annoying crown. So any intrigue claim turns into a kill effect. And here comes the overwhelming numbers that will allow Reinhard to win by 5. Increase the claim as well. And pinch one of the power icons, pinching Lysa. Just to get rid of her threat. And Mace move to the death pile. Or not. Yes, he is. I was thinking maybe Reinhard is already doing the calculation whether he can win this round or not. So he has 10 and there will be 1 for power claim at the most. So that would be 11 plus 2 renown on Khal Drogo. And dominance would be 14 if nothing is unopposed. Now does the crown work with... Yeah, it works with pillage as well. But he's running out of the Thrakis. So if you think the game will last another round, maybe you can get rid of him. No, so he's going to make sure he wins the power by 5, which he can do with stealth. Which then stands Khal Drogo, and Plaza can stand probably Drogo to win on the military challenge as well. Yeah, this one went downhill pretty quickly for Robert with that pinch. And the Dothraki, the crown getting rid of Varys, which was kind of a plan C option, I guess, to put him in with Marjorie and try to reset, even though it hurts you as well, just to stop this onslaught basically. But now the renowned character Khal Drogo will push the military through. He does have to kneel both of them, so he won't be winning dominance at least. And that keeps him on 14 if I'm not mistaken. Can choose anyone that gives prize away. And now, if Reinhard is for instance playing to Harris, that's an instant win with prized, because one of these two has to go away. Marched, okay. Pointy End brings the power down, gives Robert another challenger's phase to try to stop this. I think the players know this is pretty much over, unless some magic was drawn here. So Reinhard can just put anything he has on the board here, and he should have enough. Especially with that stealth. Without stealth it would be even playable here for Robert a little bit. Over the last 2 rounds he was losing by 5 just because of that stealth. Up, maybe this is a chance for Robert. No. Okay, so card in shadows, probably pinched. And that's it for Reinhard. Now let's see what can be done here with 7 gold plus all the reductions. Protection for Marjorie. Slightly too late. And without knowing that card in hand for Robert, the situation on the board is enough here for Reinhard to win by 5. which gives him the stand and the pinch. And it's on lice again, so that he can do the other challenge. And that's prized as well, so he's gained quite a bit with that prized from those pinch triggers. And the Plaza of Pride now surely stands Jogo for the military. And that should be it. Yeah, strong deck. I've seen it on stream and on recorded videos on this channel a few times. Even in a previous tournament we saw it, and it looks very good whenever we see it. Looks difficult to beat, goes very quickly and very aggressively, and somehow doesn't help to reset it, just keeps coming back. But of course the good thing is here that you can switch decks, so if Reinhard's next opponent, which should be the final opponent, prepares really well for this deck, Reinhard has another option or two. He can switch back to the Voltron cohort stuff, or go to burn or something like that. And he has two chances in the final because he only needs to win one as the undefeated player. Yeah, so this is not... let's just see if there is any magic. There isn't. This is not an elimination game, as we said, so Robert still survives this tournament. This was his first defeat, which means he has to lose another one to be eliminated. Yeah, exactly. The stealth and the repeated pinch triggers here really strong in this deck, and even the Crown, which is a kind of a forgotten character, you don't see it a lot, has done some good work here. So let's have a look. As I said, Robert drops down to this final game of the losers bracket now, so he's going to play being from China. And have they played before? No, they have not played before in this cut of this tournament, so will be interesting to see that one. And Reinhard is our first finalist, still undefeated, which means whoever joins him from the losers bracket could be Robert again, or could be Bing. Will then go into that final with one loss, so Reinhard needs to win one to win the tournament, and the other player needs to win two to win the tournament. So that means it's 2 or 3 games to go, which should be played next weekend, and I'm very much looking forward to them. Hopefully you can join me for those as well. So thanks for joining me this time. See you next time. Bye bye.